The legendary Super Saiyan Broly has always been my favorite Dragon Ball Z movie. This movie introduced me to my favorite character in Dragon Ball, the rampaging and most powerful Saiyan ever, Broly. Z Broly was one of the most, if not the most twisted villains I've ever seen in my life. He is the pinnacle of Z villains and possibly the best representation of a Super Saiyan and what they were truly supposed to be. Now, for the Dragon Ball fans that don't know much about Z Broly, or haven't really watched the movie before, I'm going to quickly explain his backstory and character, but I definitely recommend watching Movie 8, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Broly and Goku were born on the same day, with Broly's power being unbelievable for a baby, while Goku's power was puny. Goku made Broly cry by crying, and somehow he carried that hatred for the rest of his life. Fast forward to when Broly was a child, he became impossible to contain as he wanted to destroy everything, so his father Paragus put a controlling device on him that resembled Juri. Fast forward again, and Paragus lands on Earth and cons Vegeta in believing he is here to crown him king of new planet Vegeta. To make a long story short, once they arrive to the planet, Broly loses it on Goku and proceeds to hand out the most merciless ass whooping you can give to any group of 5 warriors in a 1v5. The way Broly played with the Z fighters, which included 4 Super Saiyans might add, was an absolute spectacle. Z Broly also has some of the best one-liners in the history of fiction.
You, Kakarot, I choose you to be the first of my victims. If you wish not to fight back, I understand. But I'm going to destroy this planet no matter what. Love to look up in the sky at your silly old planet. You're probably dreaming you could go back there someday. It's just a dream! Oops, did I just blow it up? You can say goodbye to your son. I do what needs to be done. What do you expect from a true freak? If you had just let me kill you all before, you wouldn't be dealing with this pain now.
Now, honestly, most of what I said was revamped in a more fleshed out way in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, except for the one-liners, obviously, and just the overall character of Broly. But let's get to the fact that while I do like Super Broly and appreciate that he exists making Broly canon, I also believe Z Broly is far superior as a character and overall villain, and he still could have been the Broly that we brought into Super. Hear me out. Normally, people that defend Super Broly when compared to Z Broly bring up the fact that he was made to make Broly canon, as I previously just stated. However, wouldn't it be better to keep Z Broly with a more fleshed out story that relates to how he truly grew up terrorizing galaxies? Kid Broly go hard. I'm just saying, that's not enough of an argument for me. The truth is, Z Broly had the potential to be the greatest thing to happen to Z. I mean, the legendary Super Saiyan, the strongest Saiyan isn't Goku. Even though it was only a movie, it should have been its own canon saga. Imagine an arc in Dragon Ball Z after the Cell Saga that instead of fighting Boo, they fought a battle-damaged Saiyan on edge that was really Paragus seeking refuge from his berserker son Broly, who wanted to destroy him for simply being weak or something like that. Throw in a backstory with depth about the Saiyans and Broly upcoming and Frieza, and there you go. I mean, honestly, I just came up with that in seconds, but Z Broly first arrived in 93. Dragon Ball Super Broly came out 26 years later in 2019. So it's fair to say a lot has changed since then, especially with Super becoming a new norm of Dragon Ball. With that being said, when I saw the animation for the Super Broly movie, I was super ecstatic to see that it wasn't the same super child-friendly style of animation, but a more rugged and similar style to vintage Dragon Ball Z, which I failed to mention in my previous video. Super animation sucks. Division in the community is inevitable, especially given the fact that Z meant so much for the OGs and how quickly the general vibe and tone it set was stripped away in Super. But the community as a whole seemed to love the Super Broly movie. I mean, especially me, I definitely loved it. So honestly, in my opinion, that's just proof, or at least a bit of evidence, that Z animation would have worked perfectly fine for Super. It also backs up my point, Z Broly would fit perfectly in Super. It gives us the balance of the original vibe of Z while still being new and fresh. This will also be a beautiful way to show the new generation of Dragon Ball fans how great Z was and why Broly is so loved in the community. Now, I've probably said it a few times at this point already, but I love Super Broly so much and I love the movie. But my point of this video was simply to point out why I believe Z Broly is better and why it makes more sense to have him in Super instead of making a new Broly. Yes, Super Broly has a more fleshed out backstory, which in my opinion was pretty cliche anyways. Didn't really have an incredible amount of substance to it, other than Broly's friend Ba. But what does a backstory matter when there's barely any character? What set Z Broly apart was his hatred towards Goku that plunged him into madness. It was the one-liners we talk about still to this day. It was the shift from being sedated by his father to unleashing his sadistic nature on everyone around him, including his father. Super Broly is great, but why make another Broly when the original was so amazing? Super Broly barely speaks and has 0 one-liners, which makes sense because he's a literal caveman. But anyways, that's just my thoughts on what happened to Broly. I would love to hear and have a discussion with you guys on your comments and thoughts about what you think. Feel free to leave your opinions in the comment section. Let's all as fans have a friendly debate in the comments, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm your host with the Cloak, Down to Earth Kami. We up out of here. Please like and subscribe. Peace.